there, Kim Kunkel here, owner and designer over at easydigitals.com, Photoshop backgrounds and templates for photographers. Today, I want to show you how to customize this MVP locker room layered backdrop. And when we're finished, it'll look something like this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click File and Open. I'm going to browse to my backdrop. The first thing we're going to do is go over the layers. When you open it up, it'll be on your player here, which if you drag your player in, then it will go in right above here, so it'll be in the perfect spot. But as you move around, you can just come back here, or you can move your player here if your player goes into the wrong spot when you drag it in. So let's go over these different layers. So we've got a brightness and contrast layer, which you can double click and change. And just move these sliders. And we've got a hue saturation, and you can play with that too. We've got a photo filter, which is turned off. I'm turning that on. If you click on warming on this filter, then you can just arrow down through these. And this is best to do this when you're finished with your project so that you can kind of like see what effects you might want to have. We have these smoke layers, which you can turn off and on. I'm going to reset this. Let's go to my history here, and I'm just going to click here so that it goes back to where it was. We have the player outer glow, which we will adjust later. We have the text. We can change the banner color. We have some hue saturation, some curves, spotlight, shadows. We have the bricks, which you can turn off above, and we have two floor layers, which you can turn off. You can make it look like cement. And then we have the lockers. Let's go ahead and get started changing this. First thing I want to show you how to do is change the words here. So I'm going to click on my type tool, and I'm going to kind of come up here and just change it. There we go. Okay, so this is actually adjusted also by this warp. So if you need to add more warp or adjust it, then you can use this little angle tool here. Then let's say your word was a little bit longer and you needed to adjust it. You can just click this and come down here. I'm using my mouse wheel to scroll and make this smaller. And you could even have like 2 rows. And then you'll need to select it all and adjust the height. And then you come over to your move tool and move it up. And then you can grab the corner and just adjust it as you need to and put it back into place. So that's how you make the changes there. So let's go ahead and change it back to what it was, sort of. There we go. Elements is a little bit different than Photoshop. And doing these, okay. And then press enter. All right, so now we have our word in place. And I also want to show you how to change the font. So you would double click this, and then you can just arrow through these fonts and see if there's another one that you like. And that's what I do when I'm trying to choose fonts. I just arrow through and see if any of them appeal to me. So you can load any font you want and do that. And it also has a drop shadow, just so it pops out a little bit more, and you can adjust that with all these sliders and the angle and everything. All right, so let's go ahead and bring our player in. Right here, I have already extracted her from the background, and if you want more instructions on that, you can click the link below. So I'm gonna just right click. First of all, I'm gonna come over to my lockers. I'll make sure I have my layer that I want on your player here. And then I come over to my cheerleader, and I'm gonna right click it and put duplicate layer, and come over to my MVP and click OK. And then I come over here, and there she is. Okay, so now I have my player in, and I'm gonna grab my move tool, press Control 0 so that I can see the corners of my player. And I'm just gonna make it, press enter, and then Control 0 again. I'm gonna make her, push her up a little bit. I want to get the feet in there so I can show you how to work with the feet a little bit more. And you can press enter or click on this check mark. Now I'm going to zoom in here. I want to see a little bit more. So I want to go ahead and change the banner color, and I'm going to match her uniform. So I'm going to double click this, then click an area inside her uniform, and then I can just move this around to where I'm happy with it. And click OK. And I can see the whole thing. And you can also change the color of this text. I forgot to show you how to do that a little bit ago, but right now it's white, so you could change it to any other color. Let me go to my history, and I'm going to undo that change. So let's turn off the smoke here on her feet so we can see her feet a little bit better. Now we're going to try to make her look like she's not floating up in the air. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer underneath her. You can just start painting in a shadow here and just kind of build it up. And then I'm going to add another layer. And I'm going to come over to my gradient tool. Make sure it's black to transparent. And I'm going to make sure I have the round one on, and I'm just going to drag this out. And it's on its own layer, so I come over here and grab that layer. Oh, I want it to be in the middle, so let me redo that. Let's do this again. Just shows you how that can go wrong. Okay, like this. Let's see if we cut anything off. It's not too cut off there. We can adjust it. And then we reduce that opacity way down to almost nothing. And then that has a little bit more of a shadow effect. Another thing you can do is just do a smaller one of those for underneath the feet, or you can copy it, Control J, and then keep adjusting it and making it smaller. And just keep working with it. You can also use overlay mode or multiply to make it a little bit lighter. And you just keep working with it, but obviously it looks way better to have some type of shadow than just to have her floating up in the air. Because that's the giveaway that it's definitely been added. Another thing I like to do is adjust this player outer glow. And so you can make that smaller or larger depending on how you want it to look. And you can even make it stronger because it has an opacity here. So you can have to decide how it looks best. Okay, so now you know how to change the banner color, how to change the text, how to add a little shadow, adjust the player back glow, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you liked the tutorial, please click the like button if you want to see more tutorials like this, and have a creative day.